It's Wednesday, April 11th, 2018, and it is time for Eezeey Gamer. Now, on Eezeey Gamer, talk about gaming topics. May tell you about an easy game that I am playing because I am old and I need easy games because my reactions are very slow now. I had to pause because I had to think about what I was going to say next. So, we're going to talk about the Battle Royale genre of gaming. First off, what the heck took so long for this to happen? It seems like with all the different, online multiplayer gameplay types we've had, why did it take so long to come up with this? Is it because the technology couldn't push 100 people at the same time? Is it because nobody ever really thought to implement it on this grand of a scale, this big? I guess you could always say the deathmatch or you always could maybe I think that all onlines had one you against one maybe 15 other people, so there was always kind of maybe that existed. So why did they push it finally to 100? PUBG, of course, was the first one to really I guess push this. They released last year, I think. They had about 35 to 70 people. It was done by the guy that came up with it. A Korean developer, I guess, took this over called Bluehole. I thought this was done by like one guy because all I ever heard was player unknown, player unknown. It's like all I kept hearing about. So I'm thinking this is like a one guy thing. No, there's dozens of people that worked on this game. Now I'm kind of pissed that it's as buggy as it is. There's a lot of people that worked on this, like 35 to 70. And they were kind of rushing it a little bit. They wanted to get this game put out pretty quick. Then came Fortnite. Fortnite's been a thing since 2011. A lot of people forget this game debuted a long time ago by Epic Games. And I remember seeing the trailers for this thing because it was going to be Epic was moving away from Gears of War and they needed to come up with the next big thing. So they were coming up with Fortnite. Long time ago, and it stayed in development, and obviously the development time has paid off. Now, they kind of jumped on PUBG's bandwagon, but sorry, PUBG, the first person to come up with online multiplayer, deathmatch, or whatever, and everybody else did it. There's nothing proprietary about it. You can do it if you want. Even if you somehow, proprietized, if that's a word, the 100 person, they would come up with 80 or 90 or something like that, or 99. You maybe not be able to play against 100, but you'll be able to play against 99. So you can't really prioritize it. And guess what? Radical Heights came out 5 months by Boss Key Productions. 5 months. The game looks rushed. They're having a lot of problems. But it's early access. It's not even a fully released game. But you can still pay money into early access. Well, if you choose to pay for it, that's your thing. But now Radical Heights is out there. Clip Blazinski is kind of one of the heads of that team. I know he's not the only person there, but he's the most, he's the one most at the forefront. Fortnite right now is doing it better than anybody else. They're even taking away a little bit of PUBG's steam, and PUBG had a lot of people, and Fortnite is kind of just blowing right through them. So, Radical Heights wants to get in on this. Radical Heights, they're forcing a game out. Now, these are the same people that made Lawbreakers. By everything I heard, Lawbreakers was actually a pretty good game, but it was too much of an Overwatch clone. And if you're gonna play a game like Overwatch, why not just play Overwatch? It's very popular. There's always people playing it. You can always find a match. And it's an extremely popular and fun game. So why wouldn't you just stick with a great game instead of going to a game that's kind of like the game you're already playing, but not as good as the game you're already playing? So Lawbreakers failed miserably. It just did. It's not that it was a bad game. It just hit it at the wrong time. Remember, Battleborn came out 1 week before Overwatch, and Overwatch blew it out of the water. Like PUBG came out before Fortnite. At least PUBG's been able to hold its own a little bit, but Fortnite is starting to roll through it. But this leads me to believe these are the early builders of this, are they going to be the definitive? Or is EA, Activision, and maybe some of the other big developers, Take-Two Interactive, maybe some of these other big developers are kind of going, can we do that too? I bet you we can. Could you imagine if Rockstar Games decides to do a battle royal for Red Dead Redemption 2? Could you imagine 100 people just going at it in the Old West? Don't think that they're not looking at it with the popularity of this, of having a battle royal game mode that could even make them more money. They're probably even thinking of how they could implement it into GTA 5 online at this point, because the battle royal thing is something now. I mean, so yeah, I mean, there are going to be some heavy hitters that come out. Right now, Epic Games is a pretty heavy hitter. They have a lot of experience with the Gears of War series. They're a very good developer. Bluehole, I think, specializes in Korean MMOs, or some of the people that are on the team specialize in those. So they have a massive multiplayer online presence. So they have a Radical Heights, Boss Key Productions. They did Lawbreaker, so they understand it a little bit. Of course, Cliffy B was a part of all of what Gears of War did, so they understand, but they may not be able to crack they may not be able to crack into what PUBG and Fortnite are doing. So Radical Heights, unless they improve real fast, that could be another blight on Boss Key's, on their resume. So I don't know how much money they have in reserve. Lawbreakers, I'm guessing, cost a lot of money. This probably cost a lot of money, even though it really doesn't look like it did. But they could improve the game. But the problem is now you're in that Lawbreakers mode where it's like, well, we could improve it, we could make it better, but nobody's still playing it. And that's the sad part. Everything I've seen is that the game is very much broken, but it's early access. So maybe they can improve it. Maybe they can get a foothold. Maybe they can do some things that the other guys aren't, because there's going to be a lot of room for innovation, because this is very early into the Battle Royal, kind of the story of being an online mode. So who else can come into this fight? Well, you're going to need a sci-fi version of this, obviously. So why not Halo? You have a Halo Battle Royal mode. I'm sure a lot of the Halo junkies would absolutely love to see them, 100 little Master Chiefs running around. I don't know. And 100 big armored soldiers just running all over the place. And maybe you could mix it up to where you could just have, it doesn't have to be, of course, I don't know why you'd want 100 Master Chiefs killing each other. But, you could call it a training thing for when they have to fight the bad guys. And maybe you even have the bad guys as their own 1 versus 100. Or you just have a big mashup and you just call it training, so that you don't have to pretend like all the Master Chiefs are killing each other. Or all the soldiers that are... I'm sorry, I'm not super familiar with Halo, so I'm going to get blasted on this. But Halo is just the idea. Halo doing it, and I could see Halo fans probably enjoying it. Why not bring back Medal of Honor? They've struggled, but I think Medal of Honor is an EA property, and it hasn't done well lately. But why not put the Medal of Honor name onto a Battle Royal mode? But if you really want to do a Battle Royal mode, Battlefield Battle Royal, why not? So EA has that property, so you could have a Battlefield Battle Royal. Then they incorporate all the vehicles and everything else, so now EA gets into the game. Activision, Call of Duty. You got to figure that the big dogs are now looking at this. EA and Activision are very much looking into how they can get their Battle Royal modes going, or if they're going to do it. And I have a feeling they will. They have the online presence, they have the servers, they know how to do all this stuff. Now it's just figuring out how to make a map big enough and how to make 100 people be able to play at the same time, which probably is the easy part for them, but now it's coming up with the map that is intriguing to play on and being able to get everybody on it. So we'll see. And then why not Counter-Strike? Counter-Strike, I mean, ever since they released CSGO, hasn't really done much, but I guess they don't need to because Counter-Strike Go is already, it's still popular. So, to me, the Battle Royale, I think, is probably here to stay because right now we're in the early builds of these things. There are going to be people that come out with more ideas for this, more modes for it. So I think it's going to grow. Will Fortnite and PUBG get kind of left behind? I don't know. Fortnite, maybe not. They seem to be, the fan base seems to be having a lot of fun. PUBG might not. They do have a big developer behind them. They're just Korean. So we don't know a ton about them here in America. I'm sure in Korea they're very well known. But when you get the big dogs in there, I'm wondering what's going to happen when EA and Activision decide to dip their toe into this, if they dip their toe in this. I think that slapping the Call of Duty name or the Battlefield name onto a Battle Royale mode or a Battle Royale game where it's online only, which is what they would love, with lots of little microtransactions to buy better, skins and things like that. I can see it happen. I can see the big dogs are going to dip their toe in this. And we're going to see what innovations. I think if I'm going fad or if I'm going future. It's got a future. I mean, it absolutely does. I don't think this is something that's going to go away in 5 years. I think this is something that's here to stay for the next, 10 to 20. And people are going to innovate and make it even better. So right now, Fortnite's the big dog. But what happens when EA and Activision and maybe even Take-Two Interactive, which isn't really known for its first-person shooters, but they might come up with something with Red Dead Redemption 2. They might come up with something in GTA Online that's a Battle Royale mode. So, and I'm not sure if they have something like that in GTA 5. Not that it's 100 players. I don't know if you could get, I guess if you could get 100 players on a server, you've got the entire GTA map and you could call it a Battle Royale mode if you want. But I think something like that could definitely happen. There's definitely a lot of ways to traverse GTA 5 and get into everybody. And of course, you just have to shrink the bubble to concentrate everybody into an area. So GTA 5 could probably pull this off rather quickly if they haven't already. I've not played any GTA 5 online in a while, so I don't know if it's a thing or not yet. But I think they could definitely implement it pretty quick, and it might be a ton of fun. But right now, I think it's the future for I think it has a future in online gaming. It'll be here for a while. We're at the beginning of this, so there's going to be some innovators that come in that make it even better. And then in 20 years, it'll oversaturate, and somebody's going to have to come up with something else. But right now, I see a bright future for Battle Royale modes. Of course, when I heard it the first time, I thought it was a wrestling thing. It's like, wow, 100-man Battle Royale? How do they get them all in the ring? Oh, it's a video game thing. Oh, I guess you can get 100 people into that. But what do you think? Do you think the big dogs are coming into it? Do you think Activision, EA, Take-Two Interactive, do you think some of the real big dogs in gaming are about to put their foot in there? Dip their toe into the richness, which is the Battle Royale pool of money that's building up? Or do you think it's going to be smaller developers that create these games? And do you think let's say 3 years from now, do you think Fortnite and PUBG are still going to be at the top of this? Or do you think somebody else will knock them off? So let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And to all the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.